Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for convening this hearing. As you know, we're in the midst of an extensive series of hearings on the No Child Left Behind Act, a series that began about a year ago when you and I announced our aggressive plan to lay the background for reauthorization. While today's hearing may be structured differently than many of the NCLB hearings we've held during the past year, the subject at hand today is just as important to the law's reauthorization as the subjects of any of the other hearings we've had during this series. Mr. Chairman, you and I and many other members of this committee embraced reading first when we crafted NCLB in 2001 because we agreed it was time for our nation to commit to scientifically based reading instruction as part of our broader effort to provide a high-quality education to every single child. 6 years later, the program appears to be on its way to achieving the results we had hoped for. Knowing this is welcome news, considering the fact that we spend $1 billion a year on this program. Though the outcomes of Reading First have been strong, I had hoped that the Department of Education would have been more effective in managing and staffing this program. As all of us know, however, for a period of years, the management quality of this program did not rise to the high level of the results it has consistently produced for our nation's students. The responsibility for these shortcomings lies squarely at the feet of the Department of Education, a responsibility the Secretary accepted quickly and without hesitation. Now it is our responsibility to provide thorough and fair congressional oversight on this issue. My goal for this hearing and any others that may follow is very simple, and I hope my colleagues share it, to make the Reading First program even better. Today we'll look more deeply into the management of this program, how it's been assessed, and most importantly, what we can do to ensure the Department of Education corrects problems identified by its Inspector General and by this committee. Yesterday, in order to begin this process and ensure we remain focused on improving the Reading First program, I introduced comprehensive legislation that takes key recommendations of the Inspector General and makes them the law of the land. The Reading First program is too important and too successful to allow it to fall prey to management questions. By codifying many of the Inspector General's recommendations, we will ensure these management issues are dealt with in the law itself, so the program can continue to achieve positive results in practice. Among a host of other reforms, the Reading First Improvement Act will require the Secretary of Education to explicitly screen for conflicts of interest among Reading First peer reviewers, ensure that any Reading First contracts the Education Department enters into include provisions requiring contractors and subcontractors to screen for potential conflicts of interest, and reinforce the provisions found in NCLB and other federal laws that prohibit the Department of Education from dictating curriculum to local schools. Many of these reforms already have been embraced by the Department of Education, and I applaud that. However, it is our responsibility to ensure that they remain permanent, regardless of which administration is in office, and for that reason, it's best addressed legislatively as part of the NCLB's reauthorization. Mr. Chairman, I believe these are common sense steps we can get behind and build upon in a bipartisan way. I urge my colleagues to join me in supporting the Reading First Improvement Act and setting these important reforms into motion. When the first Inspector General report was released last fall, I committed to thorough and fair oversight hearing of Reading First management. And now that the investigation is complete, I'm pleased that we can begin that process. Again, Mr. Chairman, I thank you for holding this hearing today, and thank you to each of our witnesses for joining us this morning.